was so short, I thought there was more. But it was to the point. I'd like to try something this morning, and that's not look at notes. And just talk to you. And it's scarier to do it this way, honestly. But I just want to tell you what I've been experiencing this week. And this is the meditation of what I've experienced. As many of you know, our friend Wahid Bazabi is planning to gather people together next Sunday night for Hiroshima Day. And as part of that, he interviewed Mr. Tanamori, who is a survivor of Hiroshima. I believe has he been here before? He's come here and spoken to us. And we've heard his story, the incredible story of his survival after the atomic blast in Hiroshima. And he said something to me afterwards. He said, what struck him about that interview and about that man is that he was able to forgive and even come to live in the United States and for all these decades now. And it reminded me that this is not the first time that an oppressed people has had to live among their oppressors. This week was also the commemoration of what's called in Jewish tradition, Tish B'Av, which is the saddest day in the whole calendar of Jewish history. Because it's the day that commemorates three great tragedies. The fall of Jerusalem and the destruction of the first temple, and then the fall of Jerusalem again. It's two great tragedies in 70 AD. And the second temple was destroyed. With that destruction, everything changed. And the point of Tish B'Av is to remember there are things that happen to us that are irreversible. There are things that happen. Man's inhumanity to man. I'm going to keep that man instead of woman and man. Humanity's inhumanity can be so great that there's no going back. After the temple was destroyed in 70 AD, there really was no more Judaism as it had been before. It was destroyed. And every Jew in that country had to re-understand, reinterpret who God was and how God operates in the world. Because it looked like God had completely abandoned the people. During that time of Tish B'Av, we read the book of Lamentations. Why every year are you going to read such a depressing book? Well, I think the key lies in the actual Hebrew name of the book of Lamentations. Ironically, Lamentations is based on a Latin word given to it by the Romans, the same ones who destroyed the temple. Because the Jews, after the Romans destroyed Jerusalem, learned how to live among their oppressors, just like Mr. Tanamori did. And they adapted their religion, they adapted their culture to this incredible loss and devastation. So we remember it every year to remember those kinds of unspeakable tragedies that happen that are irreversible. Oh, the name of the Hebrew book is actually the word ekah, which simply means how. How. It's the first word of the book. But isn't that what happens whenever we experience loss, devastating loss? Isn't that what we say? How? How this happen? How could God let this happen? How can I go on? How do my children go on? How can I live another day? As a hospice chaplain, I'm with people who experience that day in, day out, as they experience death, and they ask that question, how? And it's my job to not answer the question, to let that how remain, because nothing's going to change it, and it's always going to be a loss. And the reason that we celebrate this time, commemorate this time year after year, is to remember that things happen in our lives that we just can't fix, and we've got to go on. I'm grateful that I'm in a community where people share my mourning and my sadness. One reason that I'm doing this, I'm sharing the mourning and the sadness of other people as a chaplain. So when my time comes, I want to be surrounded by people too. Amen.